I only have two, and they're both pretty straightforward and easy. So if you have any questions, please type them in. Give me a second to get the live feeds up. It looks like we're live on both platforms, so let me get it to where I can see the comments. Maybe. Come on. I have two. Oops. What did I do? And they're both pretty straight. There. Alright, so there's that one. That one's being weird. Alright, and let me go get YouTube's. Alright, there's YouTube. Excellent. So, and it's muted, so all is good. Alright, so again, like I said, oh, good morning. Maisha, welcome. Alright, so now that and Peggy and Brian. Hi there, guys. Alright, so what questions did I have? Like I said, I only have two, so please type in questions, otherwise this will be short today. So right here, I had a question on how do you add a stop to a design. So I figured I'd cover this both ways of how you put it into DesignShop as well as how do you do it on your machine. So when you have a machine, so stops are just color changes, right? So in the actual design, when you want to create something, you're going to go program in yourself a new color change it so that you can add your stops between where you want the machine to stop. So in this case, this is a 3-color design, and I want it to stop between each color. All right, so to do that, you program your first color, and then you can either use hold or applique. The difference, this is hold just stops your machine and waits for you to go hit the green button again. Okay, so that's one. The other, applique, not only does it stop the machine, but the hoop comes out from under the needle case. All right, so it literally just pulls out and sits there until you hit the green button, and then it pulls the hoop back under into position, and it'll start sewing again. So that's how you do it on your actual machine. So you can use applique or hold. I do a lot of applique stuff, so I use applique, even when most of the time all I really needed is hold, but it's just habit at this point. So let's go look at DesignShop. So let's say for this, I'm going to use this one for my next example. Oh, is there a way to delete all angle points in a segment without selecting each one? Do you mean the stitch angles, or do you mean the wireframe points? Brian, let me know. And all right, so let me go back to the stops. If you take this, and I'm going to go ahead and convert it to wireframe because I'll need that for the other question that was asked ahead of time. So let's say for whatever reason you want to put a stop between this element and this next one. So, okay, Brian, I saw that. So what you would want to do is just change the color. So I'm going to select this, hold my shift key down, and I'm going to give that stuff all another color. Okay, even if it's the exact same color. Right, so like you would do in applique work, you would usually have the same color multiple times. So that allows you then to have a separate color where you can go put your hold or applique between those two stitches. Okay, so while I have this up, the next question we had that was asked ahead of time was, I converted it to wireframe, which was what I just did. And now I want to combine elements. When I click it, it doesn't say it won't actually combine. Okay, so combine works as long as you have overlap, right? So if the elements are just next to each other and not actually overlapped, they're not going to combine. So if I take these two, for instance, these two pairs, I select them both, and to do that, select one, hold the control key, select the other, and hit combine. All it did was move them next to each other. It didn't actually combine them because they're not overlapping to turn into one element. Whereas if I took this guy and made it where it was actually overlapping, and now select both and hit combine, now it combines into a single element. Okay, so you may be seeing, the things moving them next to each other because there's not actually having overlap between the elements. So Brian asked, is there a way to, when you have something, to remove all the different stitch angles? So I'm trying to think if I have a good example. I don't think I have an example made, so not one that I can think of offhand. So let me draw a shape, add a bunch of stitch angles, and then we'll talk about. Alright, no hole, give it a start, a stop, and one stitch direction, and let's just add more so that you can see what we're talking about. So particularly when you do auto conversions, a lot of times you'll end up with a lot of stitch angles, way more than you need. Okay, now one thing that, when you want to delete them, you would select your shape, click on your insert stitch direction, and then you would have to go and select each one of them at least one point. I was holding the control key down and then hit delete, and that'll delete them. Okay, but you still have to select them individually. One trick that I do a lot when I don't feel like clicking through them all is I'll actually just go convert it to a vector, because now all the stitch directions are gone, and then I can select the vector, choose my insert stitch direction, and add one. Okay, so you can select multiple at a time with your control key, but you still have to select them individually. Okay, so does that help at all, Brian? Probably not the answer you want. Excellent. And on YouTube, thanks for the feedback. Great. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Yeah, okay, so that's what I always do, is I convert it to a vector and then add back the stitch directions, just because, I'm impatient. So when there's 100 stitch directions, I'm not going to hold control and go find each 100 of them. All right, any other questions? Because that was all the questions I got for the week. How do I add a stop? And how do you merge elements? So yeah, it's a short one today, unless you guys have any other things you want to talk about. It's crazy busy down this way. And cold. I don't like the cold. Lorena and Fairbanks, welcome. All right. I don't see any other questions. Just because this is so short, I'll hold on for a few more minutes. Just, let's see. Nope, not there. All right. Well, remember, you can always ask questions by emailing application. Alexandra M., you're new to Design Shop and just bought your machine. Excellent. Well, congratulations. Let me show you some resources where you can find just info to get you started, right? So, Melco, let's start here. All right, melco-service.com. This has all the manuals, so if that's fun and exciting for you. I like reading them. Not many people do, but I do. Anyway, so there's that. Oh, there's some more questions typed in. Do I know anyone having success with embroidering cap brims? Pre-construction, yes. It's cap brims, they have so much cardboard and other stuff. Most of the time when you see that, it's either done as a patch and glued on, or it's done pre-construction, meaning you embroider the fabric first and then you make the cap. So that's mostly where I do. So back to the thing on YouTube where you've got a new machine. So the FAQ section, if you guys haven't looked at it, be sure to check it out. This is where you can just find, anything you're looking for help on, whether it be small lettering, chenilles, puff, whatever. You type it in and it'll bring up articles, has links to the YouTube videos, all of that's in here. It's a great resource for you. If you go to melcouniversity.com and then click on media, this will take you to the kind of help videos on how to use DesignShop. I suggest starting at the top and working your way down. I know everyone loves to jump straight to the digitizing basics, But the reality is you need all this stuff first to be successful with the digitizing. So I would start here and work your way down. Now, for the actual machine operations, if you go on to, here we go, Melco service, and then, yeah, I'm pretty sure, I thought there was links in here. It might be the, let's see, in the manual, there used to be, or there is going to be, I don't know if they're here yet, video links to the actual videos on how to use the machine. You can always find those videos also on YouTube. All right, so let's see. I'm having trouble with trims and digitized designs. How can you add your own? Well, to add your own trim, back to DesignShop. So let me go to here. Let's say I want to add a trim. I would select where you want it, and you would say Insert Trim, and you've got a trim put in. Now you can also go through and modify the elements to change the trim style by using this tie in and tie off. So how I got to that screen was I double clicked on an element, it brought up my object property box, and then down here under tie in and tie off you can choose what style knot and what your auto trim properties are going to be. Alright, so I want to give my girlfriend a file of mine. She needs PES. How do I convert from an OFM to a PES? Alright, so you would go File, Save As. Come over here, find your PES file, and just do a Save As. And that'll save it off for you. Okay? You can do that with any file type, whether it's PES, ART, DST, EXP, whatever format you want. Okay, let's see, what other questions do we have? I'm freezing. I'm always freezing. Okay, I don't see any other questions typed in on YouTube nor Facebook. Showed you where the resources were, so yeah, check them out. You can always email applications@melco.com with any questions. You can type in, usually a day or two before these talks in groups on Facebook, I'll post, looking for questions. So be sure to type in on those if you have questions and I'll get them added. Yeah, that's pretty much all I had for today. So I hope these are helpful for you and you're learning lots. We're getting your questions answered. So let me know. Hey, good morning, Juliet. All right. You're welcome, Lorena. I'm glad you guys are enjoying them. We'll talk to you next week then. All right. It's February. All right. Happy February. And you guys have a good weekend. And I will be back next Friday to answer any other questions you have. All right. See you then.